Everybody can hear me or what? You guys can hear me? Christian, Roberts, Big Smoke, Goody Williams, James Quater, you guys can hear us? Please let me know if you hear us live. Okay. Mr. Gonglo.
I'm watching our video from LTA.
Mr. Gonglo,
Yes, Tomalin.
you you
Are
you
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 hearing me?
you on live, my man.
As I'm watching the video from LTA.
But you on live.
Yes, but the point is, I don't know. I'm not seeing the link to.
On live. Okay, guys, welcome, man. Welcome. We starting late because there's a heavy storm in Liberia and having problem with the radio station in Liberia. But we are on live, so we will be starting in a short while. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. We are live. We on High FM and having we're still trying to get uh go on I'll get True FM on, but High FM is on live for us. Guys, today the news today is that there have been lots of development in the last 12 hours, starting with the president suspending the board of commissioners of the Liberia Telecommunications Authority with immediate effect. He has written to the General Auditing Commission to conduct a comprehensive audit of the entity. The suspension, comes in 2 days, just after the Board of Commissioners won a legal battle against President Boaka's administration, where the Supreme Court nurtured government legal counsel that they proceeded wrongly. And President Boaka, in his communication to the commissioners, highlighted questionable financial dealings and the controversies around the over $4.6 billion headquarters project. But there have been a lot of stuff. He also appointed uh, folks on the Unity Party, Abdullah Kamara as chair, Patrick Horner, Clarence Massacre, Angela Bush, and Ben Fofana. He said they are acting commissioners. Now, the issue is whether they will be allowed to work, because whether they can be acting and still work is a different story. We got to find out. We'll find out in the next few days whether they can be, while they're suspended, while they are acting, they can still be working, because before you have to go, you got to get a point, you got to be confirmed by the Senate. And from where I'm gathering, the senators are saying that they're not going to take up this confirmation. So we're still trying to find out what's going on, but It's a serious thing. And hey, Grace, how are you today? You muted. And also,
I said, hi, how are you?
yeah, trying. Also, this evening, the Liberian National Police surrounded the LTA headquarters, searching employees, suspended chairpersons. They are crying. They are saying with the intimidation. Armed officers of the Liberian National Police stormed the LTA headquarters, demanded us to search the vehicles and bags of employees before leaving the premises. LTA employees were removing assets and documents belonging to the authority, according to them. But without a search warrant, the police stopped a woman identified. Um, yes, so the people are requesting that is needed search warrant from the court, but they did not have it, so they couldn't. So yeah,
But my thing is that, Tomalin,
yeah,
concerning that search warrant, I don't know what are the processes uh, with the different government entity when people are being, suspended or maybe they are being fired from their job. What is the process? Do you go to work? The email is sent to you. You're supposed to leave all government properties on the government grounds before you leave and all those things. So we don't really know. But before we're not getting the show right now. So, I
we're
just want
on
to say
live.
hi.
We're on live, so the show already on live.
Oh, okay. So hello everybody.
Yeah,
Uh TCA is on live. I thought we're in the back really.
on live.
But we all live. I would like to say hi to the people in the studio, hi to the Liberian people listening, hi to the people on Facebook and YouTube. How you guys doing? Welcome to the closing argument. And we're happy to have you here. If you're on here, share the video because I noticed that closing argument videos I only share like sometimes 10 times. While other platforms, the people sharing the video, they show like 200 times. So you do us a favor and you share the video so other people can know that we are on and then they can get the benefit of the platform because a lot of good information are getting out here on this platform and other people need to know what's going on and how to actually understand what's going on. That's what the platform delivers to the Liberian people. Yeah, so it's nice to be here, Tomalin. How you doing? How was your day today?
Well, the day this morning, as early as 4 o'clock this morning, I started receiving calls from Arovia about this the issue about the president's action on the LTA commissioners and also the GAC. I mean the governance commission. And as soon as I got up, I woke up and we'll be on calls the whole while, back and forth. In fact, I I reached out to the LTA legal counsel, but right now he says he cannot make any comment right now. He's on that video that the interview on the Spoon program that we're interviewing. Yeah, he's on that video. Council
But
of
why he said he cannot make any comment right now? This is the time
I
for them
think
to come on
he said
the
because
platform and explain what's
they
going on.
work on the executive branch. I think because of the nature of the case and what's happening right now, everybody in Liberia gotta protect their job now. That country, the minute you say something that you not supposed to say, whatever the case. And right now, what's going on in Liberia is something that everybody concerned, whether it's witch
But
hunting or
but but what is the right thing to do, Tomani? Right now, if you say something, you will not. You everybody trying to protect their jobs, and that's why when people get killed, people close their mouths and live with it for the rest of their lives. When people get harmed, people watch it and don't say anything. They live with it for the rest of their life because they're trying to save themselves, but
not.
not knowing that these things too are sin before God. If you let put it in the politics side, if this thing is happening at the LTA, you the boss, you're supposed to be the one on these media platforms trying to explain your situation, except you got something to hide. Then you can't come here because then we'll ask you the necessary question. If you have nothing to hide and you think the government wronged you or you think what is going on within the way Joseph Waka is proceeding with his government is wrong for the Liberian people, you come and speak. What's going on? Why are you guys suspended? Did you steal any money? Did the president catch anything? Something liable in the place that you're hiding? You need to be able to tell the public what's going on so the public can understand you're part of it. But if you're just trying to hold back and say, oh, because we can't say anything right now, so how would the Liberian people understand so they can correct everything that within the system? So at this point in time, they will get on the side of the government because remember, George, we are government put a lot of people in tenure position before they left. And so the tenure position thing, I'm not vouching for Joseph Waka, but it's a very tricky situation. Some of the people that got in tenure position 3 months, 6 months before the president, this government was turned over. So those people, when they're coming after them, I don't see any, I kind of waver with my thinking, although tenure position means the president is supposed to serve for the time. But then I think again, was it fair play for the last government to have done that? And that's the reason why the new government is saying, no, we're not going to allow this. But if you're taking people in tenure position that have been there for 4, 5, 6 years already, I think it's wrong as well. You need to allow them to serve their time in the tenure position before before they leave. If George Weah put people in training position a year or 6 months before he turned over, it means that he was putting his people in place. But this new government want to work with those people. So all those things are things to look at. But my main issue here is that go back to the courts and then you go through the proceedings in changing the law of the training position instead of you witch hunting people. And that's my point.
Well, because everybody's concerned because this thing was perhaps prearranged. We don't know. Because the Supreme Court issued a ruling on Monday. They handed down the ruling, and then I know we heard a noise that they were trying to do something about it, but then on Friday, the president came down with these actions, and so now the issue is there. So we know what the role the Supreme Court will be playing, what LTA folks want to do. We try reaching out to them today. I've talked to the counselor, but he just now coming on it. I even called the president's legal advisor, Councilor Keita, Bushi Ben Keita. He just sent me a message that he says not speaking to the press right now. So I told him, I said, you need to speak to the press. You need to talk to the press because you're the president.
Bobo, they're not speaking to the press.
Advisor, these things, what happened today? It's directly in your office. You have people are saying you are the one who you are advising the president, and then you are saying you cannot speak. Then when people go at work and say something, then you say, oh, they never got your side of the story. So that's why we trying to get hold of him. I just sent him a message again. Hopefully he'll respond, but I think he will be doing the country good by him commenting on what happened today at the
Besides, he owes it to the Liberian people to give us information for us to know what's going on. The whole thing with this whole Liberian thing, where the people let to push things and hide things. We're not talking, talking to a certain group of people, but we're not talking to that group of people because they're not on our side. And we're talking to a certain group of people because they're on our side. It's just so childish. It's so 1990 or 1985. We are in a new world where information dissemination is very important for anything to go on. Even you selling your market, you give that information out there. So I don't know why they are not talking to the press. I don't know why they are not talking to this platform to tell the story, what is really going on for the public to understand. Like when people taxpayer money, pay them for us to get the information, the real insight on what is going on within the government. I think it's the right thing to do for him to be able to come on, since he is the advisor to the president, for us to know. Because 1 minute the Supreme Court passed an order, the next minute the president went and took up another bypass and did something else. So they need to come and explain themselves. Are there any stealing within the entity that they had to suspend people? Is there any foul play? We need to know that. And that's the reason why we want them to come here.
Well, welcome the chairman. The chairman been working the line since this morning. He been up, they took him out of his bed since 4 o'clock this morning. Been out of his bed. He been on lots of different calls since this morning, and so maybe he got some news for us. So chairman, let me bring you up to speed, chairman. We reached out to LTA. Councillor Phil Dixon. You know, he's the legal counsel for the LTA. But he said that because the case is still where it is, he just cannot come public with anything, and because he's still serving under the executive branch, but then I'll reach out to the president's legal advisor, Councillor Keita. He just sent a message and said that he's talking to the press now. So I'm telling you, I say, but this things you guys can do is not good, because you're the one who's supposed to be speaking. This is directly within your office to be talking. Tell us what's going on now. The Supreme Court issued a ruling on Monday. Friday morning, the president comes up with a decision to suspend the board of commissioners and of the LTA. And it's all, he's not just doing it, he's doing it by legal. I'm sure he never just came up with this without getting your legal advice. But now they're all trying to go away, you know. And the president is leaving the country, I think on Monday. He's leaving the country Monday for the African Business Summit in Dallas, Texas. So and he'll be coming to the States. So, Chairman, what's up?
Well, it's good to be here. It's good to see all of you. It's Friday. It's good to be Good Friday. It's good week. Week has been very hectic. You're right. When this thing broke, listen. It's sad to say, but I think I anticipated this. I knew this was exactly what was going to happen. Maybe not the exact reason, but I knew a couple of things happened when that Supreme Court issued its opinion. This is about power play. This is about presidential power. One of the things that I've always said, and I will continue to say, is that first of all, elections have consequences. They do. And I think we tend to forget that elections do have consequences. When people win an election, sometimes they tend to forget that, my political science teacher told me once, and she said, political power is only power when you don't have it, because it is a perishable commodity. And clearly, what we've seen happen over the last couple of hours was purely a political play. I think this was planned from the beginning. I also believe that maybe they made a tactical blunder by going ahead and appointing the people before doing what they did today, and underestimating the fact that that those commissioners was not going to challenge the appointment at the Supreme Court. Because let's say it plain and clear, what they did by going to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court issuing the opinion that they did embarrassed the presidency. And when you look at African leaders, they don't like to be embarrassed, right? Or at least the handlers around them and those who advise them, they don't like to be embarrassed. Where are we right now? Look, I am an optimist, but on this one, I can tell you that I think this is a done deal. I think this is the typical Liberian thing. We're going to talk about it today, maybe on Monday, depending on what happens.
What do you mean done deal, though?
Well, when I say it's a done deal, I think what has happened has happened. I think, unfortunately, this is the reality we have to deal with. I don't think those commissioners are going back to LTA. I think what they've done, I think they've played the card, and I think Kelabo said something here, if it wasn't yesterday or the day before, that there was going to be, Kelabo, you got to mute yourself.
The wheels almost came off like 5 minutes. I'm not muted. And then obviously Villa. I hear you. So for them. Oh,
something's playing in the background.
Oh no, okay, no, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
No, I'm watching Arsenal.
Okay. You're watching Arsenal, okay. So what I'm
saying is Arsenal, so I can be watching the old game as well.
I see you and Joe Burger got something in common, because Arsenal, I think, that his team too.
I don't think that's soccer.
No, I think they said Joe Burger be Arsenal fan.
Well, that's person to like it.
But like I said, I think at the end of the day, I think you said something the other day.
Oh yes, I can repeat myself. In fact, I told Tomalin George this morning when he and I were talking on the phone. I said, go back and listen to me. I said, President Bouaka is not going to honor the Supreme Court decision. They will find every means to frustrate the guys, either by defunding the agency to make them appear ineffective, not knowing what to do, or they will audit, they will find all sorts of charges and put on them to just get them out.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what it means? Imagine, Ben, Patrick Honor relationship with Bouaka. They are both kissy. And there is a reason why people want certain people in certain agencies. Look at the configuration of the nominee for LTA. LTA is a cash cow. It's a place where the guys sit there, they do nothing, they have no knowledge of the telecommunication industry, they don't even have the capacity to monitor the gateway for the mob. They go to the GSM company for information. They cannot independently monitor the performance and activities of the GSM company. They go to them for data. And the people pay subscription. They pay all these fees to them. And they just sit and marinate. And it has nothing to do with the current group of commissioners that they are trying to get them out. It was like that under LM Johnson Sali. It was like that under Wia. It's going to be like that under Bouaka. That's why he's carrying the likes of Patrick Honor with the criminal justice. Has no idea on even how mobile phone operates. He doesn't even know.
Yeah.
He has to go there because they said they make money. I talked to a former commissioner. I will end on this. And the former commissioner said to me, she and I were playing, we play tennis together in Liberia. And she said to me, Kelebo, that's the only agency of government where you work, you do nothing. You sit down. Tens of thousands of dollars come to you weekly.
Yeah.
She said it to me. So there is a reason and motivation why people will want their family members or agent provocateurs who will funnel money back to them to go in LTA. There is a reason.
The chairman, here's the information now. I just got off the phone with the police boss. The call for the police to go to LTA was made by Abdullah Kamara and Angela Bush Cassell. They invited the police to go to the LTA compound today, and they said they wanted the properties. Now, here's the situation. You just being appointed acting. You're not even, and you go to and ask for police to come and take over the place, and instructing police to take over the place, and nothing should leave the place or what? I mean, what's going on in the country?
Yeah, look.
But do they even have that kind of authority?
I don't want to monopolize it. This is the highest degree of lawlessness. It appears to me now that this Lender Police Inspector General does not even know what he's doing. He is looking at the Supreme Court opinion, and he's looking at a frequent challenge to rule of law. And he decides to side with those who decide to honor the rule of law. Then Gabriel Comer does not know anything he's doing. And then I'm going to begin to question even his Harvard education.
But to him, he said that they asked for. My own thing is that who gave them the authority to go ask? That's the problem, right? But he said they the one went and said they want that protection of LTA property, LTA for nothing to leave LTA. So, but my thing is that these guys are you are not taking over, but you already going to give. As if to say there's something that's a premeditated stuff they having on the mind or what? Like go and go right away. And Angela Bush Cassell, so former commissioner there, right?
Entitlement.
Yeah, to go and say, well, go take control of the premises, make sure nothing leaves the premises. I mean, who gives them the authority to do it?
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, we're in for a long haul. A couple of things are going to happen, and this is what I'm going to focus on. I don't want to go back and forth on this whole thing. A couple of things are going to happen. There's a lot of push, and there's a lot of overreaching here. I keep saying this over and over. The mistake these governments make when they come to power, they don't read the tea leaves and to see where the country is and what the temperature of the country is. We have this thing in Liberia where we think we just do anything we want to do, and it's Liberia, and we will not talk about it in the next couple of days. But these things have a way to come back to haunt you. Because at the end of the day, like you rightly said, Tomalin, whether you like it or not, the Supreme Court, and what is even brazen about this, was that the Supreme Court said withdraw the nominees, and the president goes and he appoints the exact group of nominees to act. Technically, he's playing with the law. He's playing legal things. He's looking at the angle of being a chief administrator of the country to say, you know what? Look at the letters that were written. Let's even pivot a little bit to governance commission, because I know everybody's talking about LTA, but the same thing happened with the governance commission. If you read the governance commission's letter, he says, hey, Mr. Chairperson, it's been brought to my attention that you violated the Governance Commissions Act. I've appointed a committee to investigate you. Meanwhile, you are suspended until that investigation is completed. So, look, I said this over and over. This was never an election about bringing change or trying to do things different. This was just an opportunity for folks who felt they were in power 12 years ago, lost it, and wanted to come back to power. And that's what you see this, because the only reason you will see the president of Liberia do this or bow to the pressure that I believe he's under, because I still believe that this was his call. I don't buy into the notion that he's not in control here. I think he's in firm control. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's because the president wants to satisfy the appetite of his hardcore supporters for jobs. And they feel that they have to be placed in certain positions, like Kelabu said and like all of y'all said, to be in a position of authority, to have the command and control over these entities. But I can tell you, the next 48 to 72 hours will be very telling in the political landscape, because I've been speaking with a lot of folks from the political side of things. I see the CDC has already issued a statement saying they're having a meeting on Monday. Because look, in politics, you never know. They may be pushing the needle, right, to see what the response is going to be. If the response is timid, they'll push the needle, they'll push the envelope again. Who knows where next? Who knows what's going to happen? This, I believe, there's just too much distraction. And I think the president needs to take a step back and recalibrate and see what is important here and what he's trying to get accomplished here. Because if he's clearly governing a divided country. People may want to disagree with it, but he's clearly governing a divided country. And if it appears as though he is going after one side, it doesn't augur well. I like to always use the Kenyan experience. The same thing happened in Kenya a couple of months ago. When President William Ruto took power, he started to go after the opposition. He started to go after Uhuru Kenyatta folks. He started to go after all of these people. And what did you see happen when he pushed them to the wall? You saw civil disobedience. You saw protests in the streets. You saw the organized opposition coming together and saying, you know what? We're not going to sit here and allow these people to railroad us, to go over us and not do anything. And then what you saw end up happening, you saw the African Union coming in, calling for calm. When you look, then the tensions come down and stuff like that. I don't know what may happen. We wait to see what the political actors will do. But when it comes to the issue of what happens to LTA, I think that train has left the station. I think the president feels he has exercised his authority as the commander-in-chief and president of the country. He's the head of the government. He acknowledged, that's why I told you earlier, I said, read the letter he wrote. He acknowledged that Edwina is the chairperson of the LTA, because this letter, he addressed her as chairperson. If you remember the first letter they wrote, that Grisby wrote, they addressed her as outgoing chairperson, right? And speaking of Bushi Ben Keita, this falls right within the playbook of what Bushi Ben Keita said on that day when he addressed the press at the executive mansion. He was very clear. We will remove these people. We will remove everybody that is in this government that we feel we don't have any confidence in, whether they are tenured or not. And so let's wait and see how it plays out. But those are my initial thoughts. It was just a little traumatizing to see the police at the LTA harassing that woman. That lady is not even a commissioner. I think she just happens to be somebody who works there, right? harassing her. And I think she did the right thing by not turning over the laptop to the police because it did not have documentations. Because who knows? They could come back tomorrow and say, well, the laptop is lost. And again, like I said, we are living in the information age. So you saw it play out live on the internet. That's not a good look. That doesn't send the right kind of message. The key thing, and I will end on this, the key thing here is what happens to the issue of the rule of law? Here is a government that's trying to find investors. Here is a government, the president out here is getting ready to travel to come to the States to come to the Africa Business Conference, right? These things are on the internet. Which investor wants to come to a country where the Supreme Court is not respected? Which investor wants to come to a country where they feel injured, that they cannot trust your judicial or your legal system to run to? So who knows who's running to President Joe Boakar's mind? But let's wait and see what happens.
Let me bring it.
I have a question, Ben. Quick.
Okay.
My question to you is that is it legal what the president did? He suspended the group in the LTA. But the only thing I have problem with him bringing the same old people that he nominated to take over that space. But is it legal? Is it a legal right to do the suspension?
So it is a tricky question, but I will lean towards yes, he has some legal, because guess what? Everybody they got appointed by the president, not this president, but by a president, a democratically elected president, right? When you serve in the executive branch, you serve at the pleasure of the president. Now, the only thing that gives you that cloth of protection is the tenure thing. And that's the reason why they went to the Supreme Court. How would the Supreme Court even see this? Is the Supreme Court going to see this as an affront to them? Especially when they were very explicit in saying, withdraw the nomination. He can come back and say, listen, I withdrew the nomination. He can come back. He can make that argument. He can show a letter and say, oh, I withdrew the nomination. But guess what? I just nominated them and said, I just appointed them and said they must act. Because if you read the appointment press release, it says you are appointed to act pending the conclusion of the investigation. It's almost like him saying, you know what, he can appoint. And the reason why I know this is political is because, let me tell you something. The president could have sent an officer in charge over there. He could have said, you know what, he's been sending officers in charge all over the place, right? He could have picked one person and said, you know what, go there, go hold the fort. Or he could have elevated somebody from within there and say, you know what, you hold the fort while there's an investigation. But this was not about an investigation. This was not even about an audit. This was about getting rid of those people who dared to go to the Supreme Court to embarrass the president and the executive. That's what it was about. This was a message that was sent. This was a strong message that was sent. And he's saying to everybody, what Joe Boakar is doing, he's consolidating. And they're pushing the needle. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. We don't know who. Listen, I said it the other day. The CDC, and this is a message directly to President George Weah. He's the leader of the CDC. President, who knows? Maybe tomorrow they may say, you know what? There's an audit from the Ministry of State, and the president office spends some kind of money, so and so and so. They could take an arrest warrant to President Weah. He's no longer president. He doesn't have the cloud of immunity around him. They could take an arrest warrant to him. All of these factors can come into play. That's the reason why when you're in a democracy and when you're in a country that is very, very fragile as we are, when you win an election with less than 17,000 votes, you handle things very carefully because you never know where things may end up. But knowing my friends from the Unity Party, trust me, this is coming right out of their playbook. Let's not forget.
But you have to understand too that most people, we said it on the platform in the back end, most people were saying that George, we had this same exact thing. Yeah. And there was a person in the back end that even posted when George, we had moved people. Yeah, so I agree. And that's the reason why I want to emphasize that, that's the reason why we know you did not vote for change. You voted because of sentiment, because this is the same old thing happening. If you voted for change, we're not going to have this happening anymore. Yeah,
but Grace, even the George Weah thing, Ivan Brown did not challenge. Ivan Brown did not challenge his dismissal. He did not. Ivan Brown did not go to the Supreme Court. I also saw a document today when Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did it to Ruth Japa,
Jabba Samuka.
Ruth Jabba actually resigned. She actually wrote a letter of resignation and said, you know what, I can't fight the presidency. Madam President, you've asked. In fact, Ellen, you know what Ellen did? Ellen actually met with the commissioners and she asked for the resignation.
All of them, yeah.
That's what she did. She met with them and she asked for the resignation. She said, I have no more confidence in y'all. I know y'all got tenure, but I want all of y'all to resign. And from the information I've received, they all resigned. That's not the case here. The case here is these guys did not resign. They went to the law. They felt injured. The law looked on their side and said, you are in your right. So for the president to, what the president, whenever I say is apples and oranges, but this notion that, oh, because we are did it, but like I said, Ivy Brown did not challenge his dismissal. He did not. So let's watch and see what happens. But if I were a betting man, I probably would not hold my breath.
Let me bring Keff in before we'll come to the council, Attorney Jackson, for the question that Grace asked. Maybe he answered that question. But Keff, I know you've been in touch with the main opposition party, and now Ben says something about Kenya. Now the CDC they are calling for a mass meeting on Monday, and they are saying that they are for the arbitrary. They are even calling the legislative members of the caucus in the legislature to appear at that meeting for the arbitrary action of Mr. Bwaka and his wanton disregard for the rule of the Supreme Court. They also said, Excellency President, we will be in full attendance. And then in the end, they said, we would like to call on all tenure holders, including justices, to remain calm as this country is governed by law and will be protected against any speedy retrogression by Mr. Bwaka and his gang of desperados. Fear, intimidation, and lawlessness would not be condoned. Now, it's important. CDC is the main opposition party, the largest opposition party right now, and they can call for any mass action that can affect the country, that can affect the economy, everything that Ben said about investors and so forth. So, Kev, what are you hearing from the CDC about this coming to this point, this meeting that they're calling on Monday? What are you hearing from the guys from the CDC?
Well, not only the CDC, we are actually calling for a united opposition front because, like I always say, on this platform, and I said this from the beginning, it's a creeping danger. This is the reincarnation of the PRC government. This is what the PRC did that let 250,000 people die. This is very dangerous. Imagine you sending armed men to stop a woman and say you cannot move with your own laptop. Okay. You cannot move with your own laptop. This is no joke. The reason we are calling for that emergency meeting is to show the world that this president is about to take this country back into the dark days. This is no joke. This is exactly what this president, JMB, is doing to take this country back to the dark days. And we will not allow it. Folks allowed that in the 80s. It started coming slowly. Then the 90s, everything went apart. We as opposition, that we governed this country for 6 years with no single bullet will fire a protester. We have seen this in this government, less than 3 months, you come out and protest, you will die. Supreme Court says something and say, you know what? Damn the Supreme Court. We will move you anyway. This thing is a danger in Liberia. And we call on every Liberian who suffered during the war, who suffered for the peace, how we enjoy the peace that we have, should stand up against this man that his age is half of the country existing in the world. Liberia is 170 something. The man is 80 something years old. He don't give a damn. He don't care. I said this thing before when he started. I was not a CPP member. We were in the government, and we were not a supporter of the CPP. But on another network, I called and I said it. The guys were there. Everybody heard me. This man would destroy the CPP. They say, "Oh no, you just won." It's not true. I remember I had have a discussion with Tomalin George. I said, "Tomalin, watch and see." On his way back to Liberia, he was destroyed. And I'm saying this again: if we don't stand up, JMB. I told Ben, I said, I'm worried. JMB will destroy Liberia. Look, the EPS. You saw the last time we saw people holding people like that, it was under Doe government. You holding the EPS guy, you dragging him on the streets because he went to a radio station, was speaking on his right. You went there, you drag him out. You saw it. All over, the military not happy. The security force not happy. Everybody not happy. Witch hunting the entire country. I will rest and say this: if we don't move, and this is what we as the opposition, we calling this meeting, is to stop a man who don't have no time to bring our country back. He been there. He lived his life. Like I say, his age is half of the country age. His age is half of the entire country age. Liberia 100 and something. And that's the man we will stop, and we will stop him. Liberia will not go down in the dark days. As an opposition, we will stop him.
Attorney Jackson, I know you were here Monday, and then today's Friday, and I know you were very tough on Monday, and then, but tell me, what's happening? What happened in the last 12 hours? What's your perspective about what happened?
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, what I can say is, and I was just on one other show. Today is a dark day for democracy and the respect for the supremacy of the rule of law in Liberia. Having lost at the Supreme Court, the President of the Republic, Mr. Bouaka, has doubled down in his wrongness, in his abuse of executive power. If Bouaka wanted to suspend these people, why didn't he suspend them before? Should they win their case at the court? Then he tried to bypass, short-circuit the court ruling to go to suspension. I mean, Bouaka think he's clever, but he's not clever enough to realize that he's doing something that is completely daft. Anybody who is a lawyer, you don't have to even be a lawyer. You just Google small thing and you will understand that. Suspension is a punitive action. If you remove me, if you suspend me, the effect are the same. The court will not condone this. I understand, even in the Asa Nyenwolo case, the same Supreme Court stated that suspension is tantamount to removal, and we will not condone it. Bouaka is in a country there. he listened to my case when the court ruled and upheld that tenureship was constitutional. He was there as vice president of Manasseh when Manasseh signed and brought into law with the concurrence of the legislature that tenureship was what? Lawful and constitutional. This man, without any color of red, brazenly violated the law. Now he's doubling down. I don't know any sensible person, any sentient person who now defends Mr. Bwaka's action. Anybody who defending Bwaka's action at this time is just a soulless stooge of either Bwaka or the United Party. No sensible person walking on the earth will say what Bwaka had done is proper and correct. That's why I want to renew my call. Bwaka is not just disrespecting the court's ruling, he is indirectly or directly disrespecting members of the national legislature who agree with Madam Selly and say tenureship is important for the proper functioning, for the administrative functioning of our governance system. The tenureship was brought about by clever people by far smarter than Bwaka. It is what Bwaka is not doing violent to and raking down. We should not allow it. Professor Dr. Amos Claudius Sawyer, peace to his archie, at the Governing Commission, thought through these things to say for Liberia governance system to be strong, free of executive interferences, let introduce tenure as some of the agencies of the government to reduce the president's power. The president of Liberia had too much power. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf agrees to that. Today, Bwaka is even trying to erase Madam Sirleaf's legacy. Why is he going to lay claim to say, I strengthen Liberia governance system by introducing tenure so the president don't have too much power to just move people willy-nilly? This is what Bwaka doing violent too. The lawmakers who sat there and agreed with Madam Sirleaf for this law to help our governance system, they're going to sit down and watch Bwaka dally in the wrongness that he's doing. If the Supreme Court have acted properly, if the legislature doesn't do so, the only name we call them is panelists. That's the only name that will be fit. They can action for a law, a legislature to just sit down and see the president violate brazenly the law of the land. But in Great Britain is it's the model of democracy. They call it the parliament, the model of parliament. Yeah, you may say it's a different governance system, but the principle remains. Great Britain, I think in 5-6 years, they have had over 4 prime ministers. Liberia, don't be scared to take action against your president. If you elected somebody president and they don't perform, you got the constitutional support to remove that person. It is a maxim in law. In law, they say, if you do not operate within the ambit of the law, if you do not operate within the confine of the law, you can't ask for the law protection. Bwaka cannot ask for the law protection. Bwaka have violated the law, we will remove it. Go to Great Britain. David Cameron, he brought about Brexit. He went to the Brexit team. He didn't win the referendum. He resigned. Theresa May, she promised a good Brexit. She didn't perform. She moved. They booted her off. Boris Johnson, very popular guy, became prime minister. You know why Boris Johnson was booted out of office as prime minister? Boris Johnson, besides lying to parliament, he appointed a guy called Chris Pincher. Chris Pincher is a gay guy who was complaining for groping another man at a Conservative Party meeting. And because of that, they said Pincher is on suspension for doing this egregious act. And Boris Johnson, you will appoint this man? Members of the cabinet decided to resign. A committee was constituted. Boris Johnson, aware that he was going to be suspended and a by-election was going to be called in his district, the constituency, he resigned. That's how Boris Johnson got booted out as prime minister in Great Britain, the mother of democracy. Liberia, you see it down there? And Bwaka appointing people in blatant violation of the law, and nobody going to fire to craft a bill of impeachment. They brought in Liz Truss after Boris' disaster. They brought in Liz Truss. Liz Truss' economic policy was a mess. The British pound started declining all over the world. Liz Truss stay in office for 6 weeks. That big democracy brutally struck out. We got Bwaka violating our law daily. Bwaka for violation. Why he did? He used the Supreme Court. Today the Supreme Court versed with him. He's angry. Bwaka used the Supreme Court to stifle President Weah's constitutional power to appoint a justice on the Supreme Court bench. He said Bwaka, he said Weah was lame dog. Bwaka has not accorded common courtesy to Weah, and Weah is the leader of the opposition, the biggest opposition in the country. He going to sit down and allow Bwaka to urinate on the Constitution. He doesn't do anything. I would laugh Weah in the face if I saw him. He got to tell his people to do what is proper to preserve why we are respected too. Somebody want to draw a parallel. It was a clever way you explain it. The people who we are suspended, they didn't prevail against me at the Supreme Court. These are nuanced conversations that we got to keep. These people prevailed against Bwaka before Bwaka decided to take the action that he took, which is just downright bad. No leader should do this. No leader should do this. So on this occasion, I need to also talk to my chairman Musa Belete. Musa, Bwaka is running this country in total exclusion to the opposition community, which is also a violation of a political concept of inclusion. He has now called you as chairman of a Labour Party, one of the second biggest political party in the country. Say, look, like any day, I will get CDC man, assistant minister job. He haven't done anything like that. He's running the country to the exclusion of the opposition. He has a poodle of cabinet members, nodding dogs, and he's violating our law. Musa, you should help, and history will be kind to you to be part of that petition that will craft that bill that will move Mr. Bwaka from office. You know, he's doing violence to the law. And it was this Frank Fanon. You know Frank Fanon? Frank Fanon, in the Wretched of the Earth. What did Frank Fanon say? He said, naked violence will yield to greater one. Bwaka had done violence to our law. Even our own Martin Luther King Jr., he said, riot is the language of the unheard. People went to court. The court ruled in their favor. Bwaka not listening. He deafening his ears. If you start a bill of impeachment, Bwaka can't say the law must protect him because he himself not operating within the confines of the law. And even people who are very agree if they want to do other things, I don't wish to do so, but he laying the basis for angry people to do angry things. Why is Bwaka doing this? Why is he setting fire to the country? Only because he wants to appease some of the people who supported him, only because he is a petulant old man. He's very petty. In an advanced democracy, when the court ruled like the way the court did, you accept it and move on. You can't go and bypass the court and say you suspend. Suspension is a punitive action. Is Bwaka not aware? That's what I told you yesterday. That Bwaka got all the flunky around. He said they're legal advisor. Go read our criminal law. Suspension is a punitive action. If I haven't done anything, how are you suspending me? Due process says you must investigate me before you take action against me. And that's what the due process says. The due process of the law, you investigate before you take action. Bwaka haven't investigated anything. Just moving the people. He's suspending it. He's trying to bypass the Supreme Court. This is not the country that we envision. This is not the country we want. And we can correct this by impeaching Mr. Bwaka. Even in America, they impeached president before. Let's put a bill of impeachment on the floor. I understand CDC calling a meeting. I'm supportive of this. Let impeach Mr. Bwaka. Let the record be there. I'm a Rakone. It is not enough to come on Facebook and just write. It's one thing to be obsessed with writing on Facebook, expressing your anger and disapproval. It's another thing to be mad about this. That legislature that has been disrespected by Bwaka is a legislature that you now work in. If tomorrow you, Amara Kone, were to agree with the president and sign something into law, and somebody flagrantly violate it, you will just read on Facebook, Amara Kone. You just read on Facebook, you just upset with Facebook. Now is the time to take action. The legislature agree with the president in keeping with Article 89 of the Liberian Constitution and pass this statute law creating tenure at the agencies of the government. It is a legislature that Bwaka is trying to spit at. He's spitting in the face of our legislature. The law did not fall from heaven. Is that the code that he's trying to disregard? Are you going to sit there, Edwin Snow, you too? You know Bwaka position against opposition. You didn't Bwaka let you guys smile at each other. Bwaka know you recorded him and you put it on the scene too. Or on the other show. You think he has forgiven you? If he is violating our law, you know you will sit down and look at him. So Bwaka will violate the law. They run behind motorbike people for traffic infraction. What is this? You are harassing our motorbike children for traffic infraction everywhere around the world. Is that crime? Violating the Constitution is a crime. Bwaka got to pay for this crime.
Yeah, let's get we're not a lot, so let's get Grace to come in, Kelabo, and then we'll be able to
Let me just ask my question quick. Then Kelabo can come in. I wanted to ask you, Mr. Jackson. So, is there any way that the Supreme Court can come back to do something about what Bwaka has done, especially now that he suspended these people with all any due process?
I mean, they can go back. Yes, obviously, the lawyers can go back again and RFI build information to inform the court that Bwaka is not respecting the court's order. He's trying to bypass it, and they believe that suspension is a punitive action. Bwaka is punishing them. And then the court will go back again. Like I said, I started the after Nyenwolo case. You know, the case is clear. The Supreme Court said suspension is tantamount to removal. You suspend people, you're moving in from office, you're not keeping in there. So Bwaka don't know the law. The people that they don't know case law. All the people behind Bwaka say the legal advisor, the arrogant, the passing around. They don't read the case law. The case law that since Supreme Court said, but you can't say you suspend the man. You're moving the man still. So no, Bwaka. You can't remove these people. So the people can go there, file, build information, inform the court, and say, but they're very respecting the court proceed. But look, sister, the simple thing I keep saying here is Bwaka enjoys executive power. He abusing that executive power, which is public corruption. When people do this kind of thing, the only remedy we get, the Supreme Court say Bwaka rule, every day Bwaka rule, Bwaka was in the sitting. The fact that the legislature not acting is what is more concerning. When the president who's supposed to uphold the law, lead by example, start to violate the law, you the lawmaker, Bwaka is a lawbreaker now, right? Isn't that true that Bwaka is a lawbreaker? Bwaka is a law-breaking president. He's a lawbreaker. And you want the law-breaking president to go unpunished? If you were to break the law in Labrador, you need to punish you, sister. If I were to break the law in Labrador, you need to punish me. Bwaka broke the law. He's a lawbreaker. Lawmaker got to be angry. Not only the court can be angry forever. The court is not political. The court told us, say, they revoke it. There's a war, there's a language of anger. We revoke this thing. Bwaka, you have reason to know that the turn you was supported by our constitution because you were there when Ellie signed this thing. So the court use strong language, they revoke. Now, you the lawmaker, you're not angry, say that the law you pass. Somebody just urinating on it and passing by it, and you're not there, you lawmaker. It's not there.
My other question to you is that now these people are suspended, right? So are they suspended with pay or with up pay? Because
no, it's definitely with up pay. That's a
with the level of the level of audacity that Bwaka is exhibiting. He didn't even pay these people. This old man is petulant. He's a bearer of deep-seated grudges. He can't take the slap in the face that these people want case against him. He's going at them now. You understand? Somebody can tell the peace angle. This is the same thing that brought war to our country. God forbid. We don't want that. That's why we say the legislature should act. When you disadvantage people like the way Bwaka is trying to do personally, because they prevail against you, what do they go to? We take our grievances to court. But if you get displeased that when you go to court, the president still bypasses the court process, what do? Then you go in the street. We don't want that. That's what I'm saying. The legislature should be seized of this matter. File a bill of impeachment now. We move Bwaka. Mr. Kun can there. Mr. Kun should be able to learn from Bwaka's misstep and his example, and we'll run our country and move ahead. This is where we are. This is what the legislature should be doing. This is what they should work towards. We don't want people going in the street because they're angry. Okay. Bwaka is 80-year-old. Okay? If you want to lead the country in here, he got nothing to lose. Even though he got his children, he doesn't care too much about his children. I was saying the other son was bragging the other time. He said, that boy was in New Jersey. He got enough money he can live for the next 20 years. What asking for money? I said, what is this? You bragging, you boy? You bragging? You bragging about a house in New Jersey. He get money he can live for the next 25 years while working. This is what they're doing. It's short term. That's the way they brag. So the legislature have to put stop to this thing. They have to correct this thing. Because when people get angry, when they go to court, and they don't get judgment. Even if they get judgment, the government deprive them of the judgment. They get angry, they go in the street. We don't want that. The legislature should take seize of the matter now, remove Bwaka through the process provided for in law, in pension. Then Article 18, pick up Article 18, pick up Article 89, go to the statute. I mean, you violated all the law. Come here, brother. We won't moving you. Let him get a law. Let him go to the Senate. Let him try him. If they vote against it, let them move him. Kung we can't there. Kung is a relatively younger man. We can work with him. We can't keep on with Bwaka doing this thing. It's bad.
I said, like I mean, like I you muted Caleb. Go ahead.
What happy to see my brother Isaac Jackson again.
My dear brother, happy to see you too.
I didn't know you were gonna come here, so I made a comment. Isaac Jackson is causing a conflict because I was watching you on AB Williams show, and when I listened to you, and I saw I logged out of the show here. Then when I looked again, you were on the other side. I said, okay, then we in good place. But to continue, I will start with asking you one simple question. I'm not a lawyer, but I come from a family of lawyers. Two of my brothers are lawyers, so I do talk to family people who are lawyers. I just want to ask you this question. Like the case I just ended at the Supreme Court, Winston Tappet actually filed injunction, I think injunction or something like that. I believe that was it, on Dr. Yakpaglo, who was appointed by President Bwaka as acting head of the EPA. So what Professor Winston Tappet did was he went to the Supreme Court and prayed the court that this guy should be barred from entering the premises. And he gave the condition. So the Supreme Court actually, in a way, complied because the start until the Supreme Court came down with a verdict, that basically accept the president's power to do certain action. In this case, can the suspended commissioner file prohibition or injunction on what maybe those that have been nominated by President Bwaka now for entering the premises of LTA?
Yes, obviously. I mean, obviously they can prohibit the president from doing that. The other thing they could do, like I was saying, because what is done, they can prohibit the president from doing it. The other thing is, the other soft way to do it is to inform the court. Like I said, you do the Bureau of Information, inform the court that, look, there's your judgment here that the man should not remove us. He has removed us using suspension, because suspension is a punitive action. Or they can take the higher rate, which is the prohibition, and prohibit the president from suspending them because they have not done anything, they have not been investigated, and as such, the president can suspend them. The due process of law says you must first investigate, and following the investigation, you can take action against these people. So they can plead due process that they're not being heard, and Bwaka is taking unilateral decision. In fact, he's disrespecting the court, and they can pray the court, and the court can add again. But terrible. But we can go to the court. We're breading the court. If you have a law-breaking president who doesn't have any decent respect for the courts, then it's a waste of our time. Our democracy is being honored by Bwaka's action. That action that Bwaka had taken, I don't know any lawyer in the country, any sensible person telling him, say, go ahead, cheering him on. He just slapped the court in the face, he spit in the face of the lawmaker, and he just moving on. And this man is supposed to be a man of wisdom, according to people who say age that wisdom. I said, no. The age of what? Methuselah had nothing to do with the wisdom of Solomon. So people are saying, oh, Bwaka, oh man, we wise. This is not a wise decision. You don't treat people like this. You don't even the man has not even accepted the court's ruling yet. Yeah, now say, boom, what is he doing? This is inelegant. This is shameful. So yeah, they can go there and prohibit him, or you want to take a software rate, you can go there and do a bit of information and say, look, this thing coming out of the court here, the man here have not even received the ruling properly. Look at what he done. He suspended us, and with this suspension, keeping the Liberal criminal law is a punitive action, and as such, we don't want to move. So let the court please say something, and the court will get an opinion again. But I think it's just a bad way to run the country. We should respect our law. The president should respect the law, Caleb. If the president is not respecting the law, how do they expect you, Caleb, to respect the law?
This is very indicative of lack of respect for rule of law. Because rule of law means that everyone should have the same opportunity before the law. you should follow what the law says. You know, whether you like it, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, but so long the judges have come out with it, you should follow it, because everyone is equal before the law. We all have the same privileges before the law. So, but I think the government, and not just him, but that is a political culture in the country. You know, our big brother, the late Tom Kamara, I want to read just a little piece from his book. This is a book. This book is on Amazon. The writings of Tom Kamara. It's entitled "This Too Is Liberia." You know, this is something that caught my attention when I started reading this book. He said, Liberia has always been a state created on violence and corruption, according to its rewarding its adherents with beastly power and therefore material wealth in the sea of poverty and illiteracy. So basically here, Tom Kamara was saying Liberia formation was based on violence and corruption. And those who believe in that, those who follow that tradition, using violence and corruption, they are the guys who always enjoy the country. They get rewarded, you know, in a mix of illiteracy and agile poverty. This is just the culture that is continuing here. This is why many of us continue to question. Changing from CDC to Unity Party was not a change. Was never a change, and was never about change. It was just about having new hyenas to man our coffers. That's all. We just took one hyenas from man the gate and put another hyenas from the other one. So they will have different degree of how big their stomach is, how smart they can steal. That's all we're going to be in here. Okay. But on the question of the legislature, Comrade Jackson, here is my own view. I know this current legislature, we have new guys, former government officials, high-profile government officials. Few of them got experiences with different organizations. But I think what I see happening with Facebook or legislators now is basically fighting a publicity gain here. I don't think they are much more serious to do the real work of a legislator, because some of the things they are taking on Facebook, they can actually have an effective oversight on the agency. The Ministry of Public Works, this is one classic example, awarded $21 million US dollar contract. They say it's intended to what? Comply with the president's 100 days delivery. In the absence of an approved budget. Under the PFN law say when a draft budget is before the legislature and it's taking a long time to be approved, I think it's 1/12 of that amount can be approved to carry on government operation. Meaning salary, wages and salary, and maybe petroleum products and what have you, just to have the engine of government running. But not to go and give contract in the tune of $21 million, like Lafayette Gideon did at Public Works. And Gideon didn't just only do it that way, but he used the wrong instrument to award his contract. Today, I know the issue has been rare at the Senate, but by now I expect these activist legislators to be called for hearing on the Public Works Minister, because you don't even know how much you're going to get. If you commit a government based on draft budget, that's a problem. We already know that this budget, like Admiral Conan has said, there is going to be a shortfall already in the budget based on executive order, waiver of all of fees and charges by the president. So what are we going to do here? We are in a situation where the lives of our people are not going to be better. We're going to continue to push many Liberians at the periphery of the society. We're going to push many young Liberians to continue to seek solace and happiness through doing drugs. And look at even what is happening today. And it's very sad. If you look, I listened to the DEA boss, Abraham Kroman. He's projecting about 1.2 million Liberians could be pushed to using drugs very soon, or that number could reach that level. We are on a time, I don't want to say time bomb per se, we are actually inching towards a drug state that we may not even have the capacity to contain. And we shouldn't be happy for that. We can put all the issues on the voters, but I think the buck stop with the legislators. They have a greater say here. They have a greater power to actually save our country at this moment.
So let me ask.
So that's a,
I want to ask Grace, and then Isaac, you can chime in. I hear Isaac Jackson pushing the legislature, right? There needs to be. First of all, do you think that's possible? Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think? Because I've heard, I think I heard Frank Safoko, but it was on another issue talking about him trying to do an impeachment bill. We've heard Yeke being very loud in the country, no matter whether you agree with his way of delivering the message, but he's been talking about a lot of issues in the country. There is this thing Amara has been talking about where the government took or the transitional team then, before they took power, took money from Social Security, all these different things. Do you think this legislature has what it takes for a bill of impeachment to even get on the floor? Is it, do they, I mean, people may say it's too early, whatever. I want to get your thoughts on it. And then I want Isaac to expand on the fact that if the legislature don't act, then what?
Well, I don't think the legislature has the balls. I don't think so. So if they're in the legislature now, they're hearing me. I don't think you'll have the balls to do this. I see people everybody's seeing it coming on Facebook talking, and everybody texting, long text, people liking it. Who cares? Who cares? You're in the place to do right by the Liberian people. This is the time now for you to do right. Nothing is too early. Waka corruption has been too early. By him moving people from their tenure positions being too early. And that's the problem. So I don't understand why people always think that they should wait until everything is destroyed before they do something. This is not too early for any impeachment. The man is not proceeding well. We are seeing it. There were other things that were done before he came in. But is it right for you to do what you're doing? For you coming and saying you come to rescue the country, you have not shown anything of rescuing the country at this point in time. So there is nothing too early. If they got their boss, we bet them. Let them go now and say they're going to write and get together to impeach the president. Because for that new sort of people in our legislature, they need to stand up together and decide what to do. This is wrong. They should not do this, especially that woman being abused today somehow, some way, coming from work. It was not, it's not the right thing to do to any employee, especially when you have given your time. You heard her saying over and over, I'm the last person to leave here. She been working until late. And that what she deserved by giving her service to the country. There's another way for you to do things and you do it the proper way. But I just want to tell the Liberian people that Liberians have a way of rewarding the people that do nothing. It's all in our community, in our high school or reunion, how they call it, the high school, they have a kind of community, they call them, I forgot. But in our high school, you know, I just can't get the word.
The association, the alumni.
Okay, yeah, the alumni association for high schools, they're doing it there. They reward certain group of people over and over that sit there and do nothing but steal the money that the people collect. When you come to the Liberian community in different areas, they reward the same old people over and over again that steal money from the Liberian community, but in these different areas in the diaspora that are doing nothing for the community. They're not going out there to put forth information on Liberia for the people to recognize us in what they're doing in a particular state. So the Liberian people keep on voting those same people over and over again. They did it with the Liberian Association or ULA or May were on the platform that were on, complaining the same old thing, that these people have not progressed. They have done nothing for the country. They have done nothing for the Liberian people, but the same people being voted in over and over again. And the people have that track record. They're doing it to our country, voting people in over and over again that cannot do anything for the Liberian people. And these are the results, or these are the consequences of elections. When you decide in your mind that you're just going to go by the crowd and go by sentiments, instead of you looking at the bigger picture beyond 5 years from now, what would be with that kind of president? What will happen? No, we don't think about that. We just think about the sentiments and everybody on that side. Or I related to the man, and this man is my cousin. In fact, my mom and his pa went to school together, and all that kind of cheap things that will not do nothing for your future and your generation or future generation to come. That's how I report for. And now this is what is happening to us. Boakai will not be impeached. I agree with Isaac Jackson. The legislature now should be in caucus, trying to do something about this. The LTA employees should not let this go down. They should fight to the end. They should continue to fight, whether they will go to court for the rest of the 6 years that Boakai will be in power. They should be going to court to make this government very, very miserable for what this president is proceeding and what he's doing to the Liberian people. We're supposed to be thinking about tangible at this point in time. This is what's going on in the country right now. I mean, no development. They're still fighting over jobs and stuff like that. Almost 100 days. No real tangible. Say, oh, the president has put this in place. Oh, the president has put this in place. They're supposed to happen for the country. You know, and that's the reason why we told our people to think our brothers and sisters, our friends that we taught has since we went to school with, people that we respected. Then the office will now withdrawing themselves. Oh, you know, we thought the government would do better, so we're behind them. Right now, the government is in place, so we're going to retrieve and watch what the government got to do. No, in that sense, that you don't have sense. And this is why we tell you that most of y'all, we got sense by y'all. Because we told you that the people were not going to be able to deliver. What he's doing to the employees of LT is not right. I don't think that you should come in power trying to pay there on the last government. You're supposed to proceed rightly. And that's what the Liberian people need.
Thank you, Grace. Isaac, let me ask you, if the legislature doesn't act, then what next? Because obviously, if you're talking about a bill of impeachment, it has to start in the House of Representatives.
Yes.
And then, in order for the president to be removed, he has to be convicted in the Senate.
Yes.
His allies controls the Senate as far as the leadership of the Senate, right? How is that going to work? And then if this doesn't work, right? If what you are proposing don't work, what next? What happens? Do we just
Isaac, before you speak, can I throw you something? You then you put everything in there. Yeah, Ben, my personal opinion about this is the way to work is the Senate, the legislature, it's a political theater. And the guys that listen to the public, they are fighting to see what the public will do. So if you begin to have a united opposition front towards the emerging danger to the Liberian democracy, if the opposition begin to chant, if they begin to take the airway, and the lawmakers are beginning to hear in the corners, in the villages and on different community radios, that the lawmakers are doing nothing with solving the government is doing this, I think they will start to ask. So you can have a two-pronged approach. One, a political process, which can come in different forms, demonstration, taking the propaganda on the radio and different stuff. The legislature will listen. Somebody, you begin to hear more voices there. You know, that's what I would say.
Okay, Isaac, you want to come in?
Yeah, you know, Ben, this is a good question, and the reason why I say the question is good because this question will help some of our friends who I believe deliberately misdiagnose Liberia's problem. Today, you and myself we are exonerated, right? Everything we predicted, everything we said about Boakai, all of those are what Boakai is doing. He's proving us right. But that Boakai is proving us right doesn't stop us from feeling the consequences of his action. It is our country that is being damaged. It is our country that is being made a laughing stock when you appoint a morally corrupt bandit who is a Senegalese national to serve as ambassador for a respected nation like Liberia. Liberia is the first republic on the African continent. How dare us have a Senegalese guy who is morally bankrupt to represent us as ambassador to sell our to market our soccer program. This is shameful. So this is what Bouaka is doing to us. He take a cool man and he says he's a presidential envoy. This is our image, the country's image that Bouaka is tarnishing. So those who misdiagnose the country's problem, out of anger felt that Mr. Weah was not doing well, and out of anger they embrace Bouaka. They have an opportunity now to rehabilitate or to reposition themselves and say, look, we will correct the wrong that we did. Liberia had cancer. And one of the cancer that Liberia had is what? The cancer of the imperial nature of the presidency. The legislature helped along with Banaseli, who are not very power greedy, and say, look, let's chip down some, let's trim down the power. The power too much, all the power in the hands of the president. Let's trim it down. Let's introduce Tenyu. Dr. Sawyer agreed. Clever more than Bouaka agrees. And then Tenyu was introduced to trim down the imperial nature of the Liberian presidency. If the legislature who misdiagnosed the problem and thinking that it was Weah, so they were angry with Weah, couldn't give him a second chance. Even Jesus Christ himself said, let's give people second chance. He said, God is the God of second chance. They have a responsibility now to rescue themselves, to rehabilitate their image by doing the right thing. That's why I'm calling on my friend Amara Kone. Amara, you are one of those who misdiagnosed our country problem. You were angry with Weah. You think Weah drove you. Yes, I agree. I too were angry. But when Weah reached out and say, you're a smart young man, I'm sorry for what I did to you. I used my Christian judgment and let it go. Amara, you did not let it go. Now you have an opportunity to correct the misdiagnosis. Liberia has a cancer. You can't give it chloroquine. Cancer, that chloroquine, and that Panadol. Cancer, that serious business. The cancer of the imperial nature of the presidency. This is what Bouaka is using. He thinks he's above the law. Even when the court rule against him, he can't be kept in check. So if Amara and other people who misdiagnosed the country's problem because they were angry with Weah and went in the arm of this old man, if they don't do anything, like your question is, why they don't impeach him, why they don't move, then what they're doing now, they embolden him. They will have emboldened Mr. Bouaka to do more bad things. If a child does the wrong thing first, if you don't punish that child to serve as a deterrent, what are you doing? You're encouraging him to go ahead. Today, the people who they remove it from the tenure job, some of them may not be your friend Amara, but the principle of the law stands. It was Amara Kone who, out of anger, said that what happened at NASCO was bad. And I agree with Amara. I agree with Amara because I know that President Bouaka is susceptible to corruption. The reason why I say it is because I was in London in 2017 when Van Bamu's bankroll Bouaka's trip to London. So today, Bouaka is keeping Van Bamu in post, but he's removing a female. He's making a female unemployed. But Van Bamu remains in good graces with Bouaka because it was Van Bamu who bankrolled Bouaka's trip in London in 2017. They can't deny I was there. I saw Van Bamu spending money. All right? So Bouaka himself is susceptible to corruption. Look at Yeke. Yeke is using words on Bouaka that I will never use on my enemies. And you know why? He's frustrated. He's angry. He's one of those who misdiagnosed the country's problem. They thought it was Weah. For those of us who were far-sighted, who saw Liberia beyond Weah and Bouaka, we said, look, it's better. Weah has his experience with politics, not vast. He's making some mistakes, yes. But if you have the right people around him, you may be able to influence it and the country will go in the right direction. People say, Bouaka have 45-year experience. He would have done better. He's dragging the country in hell. Like I said the last time, put the country in handcuffs and dragging it in hell. He's dragging it to hell. So we need to stand up. Am I right? Other people, they have a golden opportunity to rescue themselves. To tell Liberian people, yes, we made some mistake to stand behind this old man. But now we are removing. We got Kun. Let's see what Kun can do and move the country forward. I think it's a golden opportunity for Yeke, for Amara, and few of the other brothers who felt that Bouaka could have done better, and Bouaka is now underperforming to do what is right and proper. The Constitution gave them that right to do it. Impeach Mr. Bouaka. Let him go sit down. He has a health problem. He needs to pay attention to his health. If he's impeached, maybe he would take time where he can pay attention to his health. He hardly go to work because his health is not working well. I'm told he's going to come to the U.S. for another treatment. They're hiding it and trying to look for some kind of opportunity. Say, oh yeah, he was invited and they have you. Why are you training yourself like that, old man? You don't get it anymore. This is scientific. Around that age range, you have problem. Even me with 50, I'm a 50-year-old. I think 50-year-old November 20. I'm using glasses sometimes. So scientifically, when you reach that age, many things about you will decline. So how can Bouaka be lying to himself and say he's good, he's 80-year-old, he still got cognitive, he's cognitively active? No, he's not. All of those our friends who misdiagnose the country's problem, believing that 80-year-old man who has a pre-existing medical condition, who have done heavy lifting for Liberia, they have an opportunity to rescue themselves, to clean their image. But impeaching Bouaka, Amara should be in the front row. It's not enough to just write on Facebook. You get obsessed with Facebook. How, brother? Let's do the right thing. Calebo, all right. You bring your thing to the public. It's good to bring it to the public. Yes, we want to know what's happening. But then you got to take action. The PFN law being violated. We're going to sit down and just say, okay, the PFN law being violated. So what is the law you're doing? No, nothing. You're talking about it. Yeah, no. You embodied in Bouaka and his people. Let's tell them that this country is not for them. This country is supposed to run under the rule of law. Everywhere around the world, when President do like what Bouaka is doing, he gets impeached. And I gave example for Great Britain, big democracy. Liz Truss is not there anymore. Today we got Rachel Sunak. Liz Truss stay in power for what? 6 weeks. You check it out. Bouaka gone more than 6 weeks, and he misbehaving. He running the country in hell. He doesn't care for poor people. All right, he's not caring for poor people. What I have thought that some of the things Bouaka would have done at this stage, there will be a policy now to wage war against poverty. What has Bouaka done in that regard? Zero. There are people who still writing on Facebook say 3 months ago, 4 months ago, they have not taken pay. Yet, Bouaka fighting a war that goes nowhere, that takes the poor people interest nowhere. This is the Bouaka you're dealing with now. Poor people don't matter to Bouaka. Poor woman, Jessica Law, she was here. Daughter Trump almost got beheaded. Bouaka wet. Has not even picked up the telephone to say, man, how you doing? I'm sorry for what happened to your daughter. These people are void of what? Empathy. And we're going to keep them here. They're violating our law. They're showing no decent respect for poor people. People are all over the place, languaging in the street. Even the policy, the weird policy that they decry, that they criticize, the harmonization. What have Bouaka done for poor people to improve their salary? Civil service stay at the same salary level. Zero. Do we still keep in here? Well, Leicester got moved because the policy was terrible. Boris Johnson got removed because he lied to Parliament. He appointed Chris Pincher, who was a suspect, in reckless disregard to the law, so he got booted up. Why can't we move Bouaka? He violating the law. He appointed people who should not be appointed. Yesterday, I asked a rhetorical question. If I were to deploy means not provided for in the Constitution to remove Bouaka, treason, I will go to jail. Is that billable? If Bouaka deploys means not provided for in the Constitution to remove tenure holder, what do we do? Try for him? No. Let him pinch him.
So let me say this. Our programming, Grace, we're coming just now. We're not on the. I don't think we're on the radio in Liberia. There's a lot of thunderstorms, and when they have these thunderstorms, I think the radio stations try to shut down because of their towers and stuff like that. So we'll probably spend the next 30 minutes. We're not allowed.
Okay.
And then we will kind of call it a day because we can't even take calls, right? We like to take calls from Liberia.
Course, yeah.
I wanna ask a question, and then Grace, you will come in and chime in what you wanted to say. I want to talk about now the opposition, right? The collective opposition. Clearly, there is this unwritten rule that happens in Liberian politics, right? When presidents come to power, the opposition tend to give them a little leeway, right? They tend to give them some rope to say, look, we went to an election, the people made a decision, no matter how small the margin was, the people went ahead and they decided this is the person they want to work with. Like, give him some time, form his government, get his program off the ground, and start to move. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because 6 months into George Weah presidency, and the reason I say 6 months is because it started even earlier than 6 months.
Yeah.
Because ultimately the protest ended up happening on June 7th. And that is the first, that was the major big one. There were several protests that happened before June 7th. You had the 16 billion protest. You had the students getting on the street, sitting in front of the president convoy. There was a whole lot of things happening within the first maybe 3 to 4 or 5 months of the Weah presidency, right? And you saw the culmination happen on June 7th. By the way, all of the major opposition parties, all of the major opposition leaders attended the June 7th protests. All of them. I'm not sure if Mr. Boycott did. I think he did make a short appearance and then he left. But Cummings was there, Ure was there, Yumli was there. Literally everybody was there. Darius Dillon even announced his campaign for the Senate on June 7th. He named Wilmer Pate, now who is the Minister of Lands and Mines, as the campaign manager. I want to ask you, Grace, do you think, because there's this talk about it was too early, right? It was too early. But hey, say what you want to say. There's a lot that happened that has happened over the last couple of months. What do you think the opposition should be doing now? Those who ran for president, I'm not talking about those who are in the government, because clearly those who are in the government can do anything. They're part of the government, right? The political leaders who ran for president, George Weah, Clarence Moniba, Alex Cummings, there was a whole bunch of them. I'm talking about the ones that are known. I mean, there were other people who ran for president, but I'm talking about those ones that people talk about, the ones who were very vocal. What do you think they should be doing right now? Do you think they should be supporting Isaac Jackson's position? Do you think they should be calling? I know the CDC said they're calling a meeting on Monday, a mass meeting of their legislative caucus, and George Weah will be there. What do you think the opposition needs to be doing right now? Because clearly they have to keep the government in check. The reason democracy thrives is if you have a vibrant and an effective opposition. What do you think the opposition parties needs to be doing right now?
Thank you, Ben. Right now, I think the opposition should be very vocal. And that's the problem I'm having with the opposition leaders. At this point in time, we're not hearing too many things from them. We are not hearing much talk from them. And people like Teron Gonklo, Clarence Moniba, Alexander Cummings, these people are supposed to start working together. It's not because you were running for president individually, it means that you can come together now to set a precedent. A precedent for our country, because by your speaking, it gives volume. And I'm happy that President Weah has called for a meeting, and I just think that he should invite those people to the meeting. All those opposition leaders, he should be inviting them to the meeting for them to come together and be able to stand as one. They can go about doing or saying their own things, but at the same time, the country needs to see that they're together on certain decisions that are being made that is not benefiting the country at this point in time. And that's why we are calling upon them. Somebody said that we don't have FM.
Yeah. I saw the message also, but the problem is we don't have the capacity to take calls from them.
So they're supposed to be coming together, and they're supposed to be vocal right now at this point. The people in the legislature that are there, that are speaking on social media and making posts, it's not enough for the Liberian people. If you're in the legislature and you cannot make a change, there is no action. You don't have the way to even bring your people together, or one or two people that will be on your side for you to start being very vocal and trying to put things in place and making sure some things are stand. That you stand on certain things and say, we will not allow that. Then you have done nothing. The Liberian people will not reward you because you're making posts and talking all kinds of things, and they don't see any action in the house being done. I know people will say, one person can do everything, but you can call your colleagues together and explain to them and tell them what's going on and let them side with you. And that's the when you have leadership ability, you will be able to do that. So we want our opposition leaders to start to speak on these things. What happened to LTA was not a good thing for the country. You cannot downplay the Supreme Court like that. The court system already in Liberia, the people don't respect the court system. And you as a president, you come up and you come and disrespect the court, because this is gross subordination. You disrespect the court system they pass something, you say, oh no, and you went the other way. It just showed that, it's just so crooked to me. It's a kind of crooked way of behaving that I really don't respect, the way the whole thing is going on. And I just wanted to say to Isaac Jackson that I know he said that the first lady should have called Jessica the victim. But let's say, okay, she didn't want to call. She could have just made a statement.
Right.
We
No,
heard
you're
that
right.
the case of Jessica law is
Yeah.
in court, and we are waiting to see what the court is going to do about what happened to Jessica law. Her voice just on the radio saying that, even in just a snippet of 1 second, of no 1 minute or less than 1 minute, and we're going to say a loud sound to that judge and the judicial to make sure that Jessica got a fair trial. And that's the thing we're talking here. Our people are not talking. Our leaders, the people who ran for president, these people are saying nothing. All these things going on. These are the same people you ran for president to govern. How come these people going under pressure with this new government and you're not speaking for your people? So who you want to govern? We are waiting on them to come and be able to engage the Liberian people. President Weah, you need to call the other opposition, because right now you are opposition. You are opposition, and seriously, at the last end of the campaign, myself, we are signing away there. It's just that for me, because I'm a Liberian a woman, I fight against rape and abuse. So that was a lot of bit more in here government. So I was on the fence. But really, the people should just protect we are back into power. Because this is what's going on, and people telling us to wait and we shouldn't say anything. That been that list all the protests that went on in we are government in the first 6 months. What are the Liberian people waiting for? Opposition leaders, what you're waiting for to talk for your people now? What you're waiting for to tell the government what they're doing is not right. We all have to be speaking for things to be right in Liberia. We cannot always sit back as usual and just don't say anything. Or let's just give the people a chance. The people not giving a chance to what they're doing in the country. They're not giving any chance. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Baga did not give the LTA people a chance. You see, as soon as the Supreme Court sent the verdict, Baga went for another way to do what he did. That's why Keff Hassan said the paper that crook. He went for another way to get him accomplished. So what are you waiting for, opposition leader, to speak for your people? We are waiting for you. We want you to start talking for us. That's what we want. Thank you.
I want Kelabu to come in and then Isaac. Kelabu,
So,
the same question to you. What is the role of the opposition at this point? I mean, is it too early? What they should be doing?
So here's what I will say, Ben. Liberia is a very strange country. Very strange country in many ways. Part of the issue that we have in Liberia is lack of leadership. Lack of leadership at the local level, at the district level, at the county level, and at the subnational and national levels. We are in leadership crisis. Leadership crisis that I would say it was not basically imposed upon us by the crisis, by the Civil War, but I think it's a decade lack of leadership in many ways. Part of the reason why the opposition have not been very effective, and even government has not been effective over years in our country, is because of leadership crisis. We have a case. It's not enough for President Weah or CDC to say we are having a meeting on Friday, on Monday, on whatever day. By though diplomacy engagement is effective, I would expect by this time, when President Weah lost the elections, whether Ben Sanvee as a leader of an opposition supported him or not, but they are all part of opposition now. I would have expected by now maybe a phone call or a surprise visit to Ben's house and say, yeah, you know what? You might not agree with me. I did some things that was not acceptable. I agree with it. But we have one common denominator, Liberia. How can we change this country? How can we work together to make sure that mistakes that are made, that previous government made, that this current administration does not also make the same mistake? Those type of conversation need to begin to take place behind the scene, so that when you say we're calling a grand, when you say you call it a meeting in the public, there's a weight to it. You don't expect, and I can say this before even talking to anybody, you don't expect any meaningful opposition leader to be at such a meeting that has been called. If, at least to the best of my knowledge, that type of interaction, casual discussion has not been going on behind the scene. If it has not been happening, they're not going to show up because it's about assurance, it's about credibility, it's about comfort. Am I okay? Do I believe Ben can really keep his promise? Do I believe that Ben and myself can go on this journey together and you watch my bike? You know, can I walk while Ben is my bike, believing that Ben is not going to starve me? Those type of things we need to clear among ourselves in the opposition first to begin with. But it's a good start. Maybe if CDC takes the lead and there is a great momentum that ordinary partisans from different political parties are following the CDC militant lead, our leaders might be compelled to say, you know what, our foot soldiers are already following the CDC lead, so let's just dialogue with CDC and go this route. That's one way. But on the legal thing, here's what I would say. You know, it just broke my mind as Graves and as they were talking. It just dawned on me that the government is an activist to ensure that the ATA, the Governance Commission guys, go, regardless of the Supreme Court opinion on the matter. And I'm asking myself, I wonder, President Bouaka, I wish he had been an activist to say, magistrate, and why is the magistrate need? The magistrate said Lucas free, but as executive, I'm going to ban. We're not going to let Lucas leave the country because we got questioned with that verdict. I wish he had done that too. If he had done that, I think I would be having comfort with him on this one here. But to say I would choose to undermine the highest court of the land opinion when my interest is at stake, but when Lucas comes and abuse my citizen, my daughter, my sister, it's okay because that's not my natural sister. That's my biological sister. That's my biological daughter. It's okay. I'm not going to be an activist on that. I think it's troubling for me on this. This is where I'm having some of the difficulty on how to even process this thing. Why President Bouaka Justice Ministry, under the direction of the president, was not an activist on this magistrate. In fact, a lower court verdict. Why he didn't say, let's stop that guy from leaving the country?
Okay.
Why?
Well, Isaac, I want you to get in this. You're a political man. I mean, what you guys, your background goes all the way back from activism, you know, Friends of Bromskin to and like I just chronicled, right? The WEA years, very early on in the WEA administration, in fact, very vocal. There was a lot of things happening. And it was the reason the bases were laid for even the formation of the CPP was because these people in the opposition felt, everybody in the opposition felt, listen, we cannot allow the CDC to just run amok. We're not going to sit and just let that happen. It was the same thing in the beginning. Everybody said, you know what? This is a populist president. WEA was way more popular when he got elected than Bouaka can ever dream of. In fact, WEA inauguration was held in a freaking stadium, right? I mean, people couldn't even move when WEA got inaugurated. And then, like I said, 3-4 months in fact, the first controversy that hit was that 16 billion got missing. And everybody said, oh, WEA had taken 16 billion and put it in here, yeah. And then you saw protests from the student groups. That's the other lane. That's the other lane I want you to talk on. You are a leader from, you know, even on the university campus, all of those things. What do you think needs to happen now? I know you touch on the legislature, but civil society, the council of churches, there's so many people who used to be moral consciences of our country. You know, during the Taylor years, you had Archbishop Michael Bakala Francis. You had Bishop Arthur Kula, the Justice and Peace Commission. Some of the people in Boyka Circle today, Kofi Woods, all of these people were active activists, right? Who were speaking truth to power, and it was effective. It brought the government's attention. It checked the president. It made the president stop in his tracks. Why do you think there is a reluctance now? And what do you think needs to happen for this spark to happen, for this spark to begin, for people to say, hey, hold up. This is not what we signed up for. This is not how you govern a country that is, by the way, as divided as it is. What do you think needs to happen? And I want you to speak directly to them, those opposition leaders, the soup, all of these different entities. What do you think? What do you think needs to happen?
I think at this stage, Ben, first we can identify what the problem is, what the challenge looks like. The challenge, I think, is basically, you would call it maybe activism fatigue. People seem to be a little weary of, the activistic stand. But I think at this stage, what we need to do, because you and I can sit here, and we have done so very well, to catalog all the missteps that typify this leadership of Mr. Bouaka in 3 months. And they are longer than my arm, right? So it shows that Mr. Bouaka is just unfit, incapable of running this country. He doesn't have the stamina. I'm told that even these letters that have been written to suspend these people, they had different stamp signature. So there's not even consistency with his signature on the stamp. He's not in charge.
Isaac,
Not in
before you
charge.
go
Yes.
further, I heard that they said that the audit report that they used to suspend the people, also the audit report came from the last government or the government before.
Well, no, it was not even an audit report. It was a report that was presented by the very people. If you read the letter, he says that your detailed report, it's almost like, when he took power, they did a report over to him. Mr. President, this is the entity, this is what we've done, this is where the entity is, and to do. So he's saying in that report there are inconsistencies, and there are some things that are raising concerns. So he's calling for the GAC to go ahead and do an audit. He's now calling for the GAC to do an audit. So just
but Ben, good explanation. But you can't. In order to do audit, you don't need to suspend people to do audit.
I agree with you.
Because when you even suspend the man to do that, when you suspend me and order me behind my back, how does it get credibility to the work? I gotta be there to confront me with what you found me, and I explain myself. So that man doing everything upside down.
Isaac, before you continue quickly, just a point of information. You are right. You're spot on. You don't fire people to do audit. If you fire them, if you see something and you say, you know what, they've been convicted, you're not convicted, and you say, you know what, and submit yourself for investigation. You're not saying submit yourself for investigation.
The evidence of women who are removing you, that's what it is. But you can't, so that man is doing everything in the wrong order. And it shows to you that he doesn't have it. He's incapable of running an effective place. He can't run it properly. So that man is incapable of leading. What we now need to do, because this is something that you and I talked about, that Bouaka didn't have it. He didn't have the credential. There's nowhere that Bouaka had led anything successfully. Never. He doesn't have that on his belt. So what we now need to do is to organize. By organizing, we need to reach out to all these civil society groups that are a little bit fatigued, to tell them, say, look, this is about Liberia. You must have thought that, yes, Bouaka had experience, but this experience is showing is just woefully inadequate to move our country forward. And simple. And your station is doing, Ben, you're contributing. If we can use, this platform and many other platforms to reach out to our people, to organize, we need to organize. That's why I say we need a patriotic group of warriors that will reach out to the nook and corners of our society and say, look, something is wrong. Our country is not going in the right direction. We could not have been optimistic about a forward advance of Liberia. Yes, yeah, we retrogressing, moving forward. Liberia, in today's Liberia, poverty widespread in the country. Waka took over, he's interested in buying his own private home. His son bragging about buying a house in New Jersey. So it's not about poor people. When you come to politics, your first call is poor people. How do I become serviceable to poor people? The meager resources, how do I manage it that poor people will benefit? It's not the case with Waka. So we need to just organize. Reach out to civil society organization. Even the civil society people themselves complaining. They're crying. They're bragging about this is shameful. It's shamefully embarrassing. And Bwaga will do what he's doing. And I am not surprised that the old man is underperforming because I knew he was underperforming. So Ben, we need to keep more conversation. The opposition leaders need to come together at this stage. You know, the remedy to this misconduct of Mr. Bwaka is his impeachment. He needs to go. He got it. So if you say, okay, let me gracious to him. If you gracious to Bwaga, his health will automatically improve. No. He's an ailing old man. If you gracious to him, 80 years, his energy will improve. I mean, these are physical, biological things that the man is dealing with. On top of that, he doesn't have the leadership skill and credential to move our country forward. I mean, you listen to his sooner, right? His inaugural address. Bwaka did not announce any groundbreaking thing for the country. You're talking about he will detach tourism from Mika. These things happened before. Jala Keke Kamara was the first Director General for the Bureau of Tourism and Culture. It was not on Mika. So it's a new thing you were talking about. Even the drug test today. Yeah, you're talking about drug abuse in the country. The last time I was here, I told the public that the drug issue with throwing away is a public health issue. It's not where somebody is running behind people. Where is the treatment? How do we deal with it? I'm even told that Bwaka's son, the one that sings the music, he can smoke more than a dog poet. Somebody will not check a car, whether he's carrying grass there. I don't know. We got to check. Did he take drug test himself? A part of drug test. Did he take drug test? Got a song you'll be singing, you're singing. We got to check. When I think he's smoking, singing all that song. So, well, let's be serious about this country. This is our country. The student leaders, we need to be serious about our country. The last time I spoke to one of my senior brother, political senior brother, I was about to criticize Bwaka lying press release that he wrote when he was in the States and said he was brazen the cool. I said, but Bwaka writing rubbish. If you were in the cool and a place is cool, why you don't go back to Africa? There's a tropical weather. He said he had meeting landlord with men from Congress and all of that. Said, but this is Christmas season. How many meetings he got? And then I passed it by my senior brother. He said, this is a honeymoon period. Let's give them small chance. I think we're giving them enough chance now. The honeymoon should be over. The honeymoon period is over. All of the activists, come on, we got to talk. Even some of those people who are behind Bwaka and marching up and down, they are themselves behind their head now. So what are you waiting for? I haven't heard from my friend Henry for a while. So maybe he's doing other things he need to do. But we cannot surrender our country to Bwaka, to Dylan. No credential. That's why the other brother taking picture with that. Where is Liberia going? Kalebu spent enough time, went to school, got education, got skill. He said in there only because he said Bwaka was too old to lead the country. He didn't have much experience. But today, he's going to be enemy. Is that the country you want to run? Kalebu, the people who are senators for us, some of them, that fake credential. This is the country we want to run, brother. So all that I'm saying is we cannot go to bed on this. We cannot. Muscle Rado senator cannot be somebody who carrying dodgy credential. This is the host. This is the host senator. This is the
But
phase.
you
Senator
talking
for
about the
senator,
senator,
Monserrato.
you
This is where
talking
the
about the
capital
senator,
is.
you talking about the senator, you talking about your foreign minister who got her bachelor degree in 6 months?
Yeah, the other boy he ran
Thank
behind
you.
her, and then later on they got to talk it all kind of way. You know, so then we need to continue this conversation, and we need to continue to remind our people that out of anger, we embrace this man. Some people were too angry with we are, and the anger beclouded their judgment. And they went in the arms of this man. And today, the man has turned out to be a complete catastrophe. And we have to keep the conversation. But I think the way out of this thing is for us to organize. Let's organize. You know, those of us, you and myself, not being, a supporter of we just endorse it because we endorse the Unity Party people want to cast us as some men. And this is unfair. This is just downright unfair. But they can go on with the demonization campaign. What we said was proper for the forward advance of our country. Yes, we have made some mistake, but we are about far better than this man. And the man is proving us right. That's why our conversation should revolve around that. That the people who made a mistake, they should own up to their mistake. They should apologize first for the mistake they made. It was a misstep, it was a misdiagnosis. They must apologize and they must correct this mistake. This is a mistake. Puaka was a mistake. It was a disaster waiting to happen. This is a catastrophe that we're dealing with. People not just, am I right? Not just for sure that reading. He's displeased with this man. He is not shouting all over the place because he just want to shout. He must be using some very inflammatory word that I would not use against my enemies, but he's true. He's truthful. He's talking true. So we need to organize. Whether you CDC, cross court, we need people of conscience to come together. People who love Liberia. If you see the damage being done to Liberia, the way Liberia is being treated, you just need to join the opposition move and let Bouaka go. If you are happy that a Senegalese man will be the face of your soccer, your Lone Star, the first republic on the African continent, the face of your Lone Star is a
It's just
Senegalese man who
accent.
came to prominence through cheating on a Liberian woman with another Liberian woman. This is what you want? Is that the profile that Bouaka endorses? And
Isaac,
activists are sitting down and looking on. We all need to come together to do the right thing for our country.
Isaac,
Kerebu wants to say something.
Isaac, the Senegalese guy, is he? It was special presidential.
No, he's
I thought
Is
ambassador
it
at large.
ambassador for soccer?
investment. I thought I said for investment.
No.
What investment?
That's a different person. The ambassador
But
at large.
even for investment, did he have the right to hire a Senegalese?
The man is the ambassador for soccer. He's supposed to
Ambassador at
promote
large for
Liberia
youth.
soccer.
No, it's ambassador at large
What-
for youth
what
and
you could have-
sports.
You could
Youth
have
and sport, but that's it. Youth and sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. He's also
James Salenza Diba.
Ambassador at large for youth and sports.
Yeah,
But guys,
you have appointed him.
so Calabo, how can you love your country like we all agree? How can you genuinely love your country and get a Senegalese guy who is a morally bankrupt guy? Because the way they make him to Liberian prominence, the backstory. Calabo, if you read the backstory that Abraham Duda sent me, if you read that backstory that Abraham Duda sent me, you will not countenance this man. This man here is not somebody that any serious person will
Share
contend.
it with me.
Yeah, I'll share it with you. So, Bouaka was a deacon, took this Senegalese man to be ambassador live for youth and sport. He's going to be marketing our soccer program. What is this? What is this man trying to do to this country? Are we so incapable of running our soccer or our youth and sport that we get a Senegalese man to be the face? He got to know this man here. The man cheated on another woman with Medela Cooper. I don't know what it was, Medela Cooper.
Medela was actually mediating between both of them and told all of her that I will leave him.
well, listen, guys.
The backstory is terrible, but Ben, I mean, the point we gotta get home is it is just intolerable. It is intolerable.
Because I don't really know the backstory. I won't hear it.
But the backstory is that this Senegalese guy was married to another Liberian lady, and they have gone for some vacation to spend some time with Medela Cooper. During the course of their vacation, that how he met Mandela, that how Mandela must have subdued him, or whatever the case, and they developed a relationship thereafter. And he went on cheating on his wife until the woman said was finally totally embarrassing, and they have to split. He had to part with his wife, and then he got stuck with Mandela, and because of Mandela's proximity to the president now, since his own advisor and the witty influence, and had prevailed upon the president to make this morally corrupt, bankrupt guy, this adulterous cheat. They been cheated on your own way. You say you just cheat on Liberia better. Somebody who serve you water thing and you left that woman for another woman. Waka say he a deacon and he will get that man job to be ambassador for youth and sport. Can you imagine this? I thought Bwaka was saying, no, I am not going to reward. I thought Bwaka was saying to Mandela, I'm not going to reward immorality. But with all that people are saying, Bwaka still rewarded the man and he has not withdrawn the nomination. This is the arrogant again. Even the other bad guy who people know him to be a con artist, he has not withdrawn the man. So there's something about Bwaka. Either he's just arrogant or aloof or just doesn't care. And this is that leadership style, that's that leadership credential. That's why we need to continue the conversation. We need to insist that our people who are listening, Article 17 of the Constitution gives us the right to mobilize, to assemble and petition our lawmaker to answer our grievances. We are displeased about the Senegalese board and the other board who is a presidential envoy who has a criminal record, a con artist record. They can't be the faces of this country. So let's protest, let's go there, let prevail on the lawmaker. Let them do something about this. Democracy is about what? Protesting things that you find intolerable. You find just not good. This man is an unpleasant man. This is an unpleasant man. This thing the man did is so bad that you will reward him with an ambassadorial post. So I think we need to come together, opposition, whatever position, all have to come together to say enough of this. We can't continue to disgrace our country and drag the country in the hole. No matter which party you belong to, let's come together. We'll remove Bwaka through the impeachment proceeding. We'll get Barakun. He will find who will be his vice president. And if they don't learn from Bwaka's mistake and wallow in the same thing, we remove them. Great Britain has given us an example to follow. This is all I can say. And this is the only thing we can do at this stage.
Thank you, Isaac. Great. So listen, we're 7:19 here. Let's do our closing. Unfortunately, we can't take calls today. I know they want Isaac to stay here for the next 1 hour because they're asking Grace, what you the cheese? But just to a point, Isaac, they said the lady was a Senegalese. The lady he was married.
Oh, a Senegalese lady. Okay, what a kid, man.
The lady was a Senegalese who was very close friends with Mandela, and then that's how, whatever. But like you said. So Grace, you want to do your closing, and then we'll get Kelabo, and then we'll let Isaac take us home.
The Senegalese women, they will say, be careful how your friends will like women when you bring that around your man.
No, but the woman has actually been on different platforms. She's been on different platforms. Yeah.
Okay.
We need to bring on closing argument.
Let's bring her. Let's bring her.
Somebody said she's Gambian. Anyway, Gambian.
She's something, man. The West African woman.
Yeah, but Grace, do your closing so we can wrap this thing up.
Yeah, a very nice show tonight. Isaac, we always love to have you here.
Yeah, at the child of make it down, okay, man. You are panelists on this show, yeah.
That's what you get from, boy. I know when you get ready to make flower your way, it can be easy.
I can make flower my way.
Yeah,
no way.
People like that, they get open the mall.
They get open the mall to the way like you.
That woman give me a time, give me flower.
Yeah, you see, you are very more, but when you go on out motor, you can be quiet. You can't talk nothing. That the kind of person that they gonna make you out. But anyway, it was a good show tonight. I would like to say that Liberians, we did not vote for a honeymoon period. Liberians at a stage where we really need a president that would just come and start to run. And that's the reason why I did not understand. I still do not. Why is it that we took our future, this generation of us that lost everything because of war? We from the 70s, the late 60s, the 70s to the 80s, we are the generation that lost everything. We never got anything given to us like that. We were all refugee camp. We lived in other countries. Some of our friends, they became beggars. And we see all of this. And we decided to still give our future to a man who had already lived his future. And that's the reason why we did not want him in power, because we did not want our president to be slowing and walking still. We needed somebody energetic, experienced, credential, energy to move the country forward. And that's the reason why I chose Clarence Bonipa at that point in time. But I just wanted to say that even with President Doe as a military president, the social society group were very vocal when it came to telling him what he was doing that was wrong. I know it because I saw it as a young guy in the country, being connected like that with the presidency, with my mother working there. Don't complain about Jeremiah Walker. They were giving it to him on a regular basis. He complained with Jeremiah about Walter Riches. Those people were on radio stations in their pulpits talking against what he was doing that was wrong. And he was a military president. But there's social society groups in Liberia right now, the Council of Churches. What are people doing? I don't know. But the head of the Council of Churches has a position in Bwaka government. So what do you expect? They're not going to say anything. They are not going to say anything. So Bwaka told us, and one of my friends always say, shout out to you, Hadley Ade. Bwaka told us, he said, you cannot give a man's job to a boy. So how come now? Bwaka like man, but he able the job. So it means that he tend to ball. Because you know how when you be young, you can turn old, then you turn young again, you are like a child. The man have reached that stage as a child. That's why he doesn't know how to carry on with this job. And that's the reason I stated today to agree with Aseto that the man need to be impeached. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelabu Gongo.
Well, I will start my closing this way. First, I just want to talk briefly on some of the activities of Councillor Tawan Gonglo. We talk about opposition being quiet. Yes, I've actually raised that issue with him at some point, but he's been doing a lot. Even with the Lucas case, he was the family lawyers that are associated with the Ministry of Justice, even though he got in the case late when the family had gone through so many stuff, and the guy afraid that maybe they will be cheating and what have you. That's when they ran to him. And because it was a criminal case, the Ministry of Justice has that responsibility. So he associated with the legal team to cross-examine Lucas in court as well, and also cross-examine some of their own witnesses that they produce. I think the House of Representatives has also invited him. He has spoken to them on some of the facts that he saw in the case and how he felt about it, and maybe possible remedy under the law that the House of Representatives could pursue. So he's done that. When the University of Liberia student, particularly the Vanguard Student Unification Party, had a demonstration, some of them were arrested. He went to the police station to ensure that they were released. He signed for them. He didn't make publicity about that. When I think another group they call, Avant-Garde Student, PROSA, he also intervened when they were arrested also by the police. So he's been doing just what he always done as a human rights lawyer, going out there, intervening in his own weak ways, quietly, and resolving issues. He's doing that. He's been serving as guest speaker in other, small programs, small organizations. He's doing his own thing in his own weak way. But he's
all the other Canadians doing that thing. Moniba doing it.
I'm not hearing you, Grace.
Comments doing it. We're talking about this coming on and speaking out loud for the people concerning what's going on in the country. We wanted to denounce it.
No. Grace, institutions do matter. Communists can gather and speak, but if they say the ANC says this, it matters as opposed to communists. And I think, I'm not saying this is what communist approach is, but I do know Councillor Gonglo, and I have conversation on this. He does not want to say Councillor Gonglo says so, because he doesn't want to be like maybe self-promoting per se. The Liberian People's Party just had a retreat last weekend, and they adopted some resolutions. They adopted some strategy. at the end of the 100 days, they are going to come up with the evaluation of the government performance. It's going to be public. Okay, the Liberian People's Party will issue that statement on what they thought, how they see the performance of the government so far within the 100 days. Okay. In fact, talking about him, he's calling. I don't know whether he's listening to me. I will call him back. Let me cancel.
Yeah, but my thing is that I don't understand how people can be. I don't understand. Check us up. Gongo say I said God can so Gongo I helped us in the case before. I really respect the man. But I don't understand how they can be so focused during the elections, telling the people to vote for them. Then when the problems are coming in the country after the voting is done, maybe they will want the presidency. How is it now that they can't speak now when something going wrong? They're waiting for 2029 before they start speaking again. And that's what problem.
Why is Karen Moliba not speaking?
That's the same problem.
But that's what she's calling me out too.
But here is what I know now. Councillor Gonglo is acting. I think the only thing he's doing, he's not making publicity of what he's doing. In terms of intervening,
Moniba is doing the same thing. He's doing a lot, but he's not putting them up.
But here what I will say.
Moniba, don't even reach out. But
we're not going to be in a contest because you can't quantify what he's doing. I can quantify what Councillor Gonglo is doing. So let's leave that contest. I give it to you. Moniba is doing 2 million times what Gonglo is doing. I hope that satisfies you. Okay? But so here what I will say on this matter. I will end my statement on the fact that I'm still shocked that President Walker is an activist in finding every way possible honor the legal process to undermine the opinion of the Supreme Court and insists on appointing and placing those initial nominees in the same position. And he was not an activist on stopping Lucas or undermining the magistrate decision to set Lucas free. That, I thought, will let Liberia down on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Isaac, you want to do a closing?
Yes, in closing, we just need to remind the lawmakers and the people of Liberia about what Martin Luther King Jr. said, that the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands in terms of challenge and controversy. Mr. Bouaka has violated our law as per the ruling of the Supreme Court. Not only has he done that, he has tried now to undermine the court ruling, circumvent the court ruling. He has doubled down to go on suspension. Suspension is a punitive action. You can't suspend me or even investigating me or asking me questions. It's wrong. It violates the principle of what due process. So Bouaka is doubly wrong. We cannot sit idly by and look at him. Tomorrow, the lawmakers and some of the people who are listening to us will be asked the difficult question. When Bouaka was violating the law, what did you do? What was your sin? We can't allow things to move from bad to worse. When the country starts to decline like it is, we stop it. The owner is one all well-meaning Liberian to stop the country from continuously bleeding. We've all cried about the imperial nature of the Liberian presidency. Bouaka is giving life to that. So we need to stop him. If you need to protest in your weak way, go and stand and protest peacefully. Hold your banner. Enough of this. This 80-year-old man will not wreck our country. Lawmakers, you have a responsibility to deal with the law-breaking president. Bouaka is a lawbreaker. There's no other adjective we can give him. He's a lawbreaker. He's breaking the law. He's circumventing the law. He's bypassing the court, disrespecting the court, spitting the members of the legislature in the face. The law that Bouaka violated, it was not just brought about. The legislature with the president brought about the 10 new law. They can't sit down and see Bouaka do violence to what their friend did properly. You lawmaker, somebody breaking law, you can't laugh. You gotta get serious. Serious for your country. Senegalese man is now your ambassador for youth and sports. Wrong. A con artist, a non-con artist is presidential envoy. Wrong. How much more do you want to tell Bouaka to take the SZO? In proper functioning democracy, by now, Bouaka will be walking the plank. He will be gone. Because the bill will be fast track to tell him, say, brother, go relax yourself. Go take care of your health. I am calling on Liberian people to stand up in great readiness and tell Bouaka enough of this. We brought you here to respect the Constitution. As a leader of this country, you're supposed to lead by example. What are you doing now? You're doing violence to the Constitution. And whenever you do violence to the Constitution, when other people react, the country goes back to war. We don't want that. So take your seat. Let's stand up. If there's a rally coming on, let's join the rally. It's a rally for better Liberia. It's a rally to save Liberia. We need to again resave Liberia. The other time was save Liberia. We can save Liberia. This man cannot rescue the country. The way he's proceeding, going after people personally. When the court rule against you, you still go after people personally. Personal vendetta. We got to stop it. And the way we can stop it is for us to exercise our right provided for in the Constitution. Let's stand up and stand against Bouaka. I thank you for having me tonight. I will find time of the busy schedule to always come so we have a conversation about our country. I need for us to continue to keep this democratic conversation with our people. Our democracy gets stronger when we take stronger action, like the court have done. The legislature need to do that.
Thank you, Isaac. And
So Isaac, I hope we exchange number, man.
Yeah. Are you in the US?
Yeah,
I live in Pennsylvania.
I was saying you the number. I was saying you the number.
Okay, Kalama, we'll do that.
Answer is, man.
Okay, after the show, we'll do that, brother.
Yeah. And I want that bar report. I want
that background report. That boy cheated on Senegal. If the man cheated on Senegalese web, there he was. Because I own national, he throw it on the bus for another Medela. What a woman named Medela. Hey,
Because we were
Medela.
looking for opportunity.
What are you doing? You tell your friend husband Medela, you're promoting our culture. This is not good.
So that's
You
think I make a carry over to Senegal, they give her any position in Senegal government. I make it never carry over for them to give her any position in our government.
Senegal is a very organized country. Senegalese are one of the most educated group of Africans. People don't know this.
No.
And they recently showed it when they had the recent election.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even the challenges they had, they lived up to it. They fixed it. The democracy is thriving. But my closing is very simple. First of all, I want to say send condolences out to the family of a big sister of mine, Comfort Abu, who passed away. And she, very, very shocking, deaf, shocking, for a very strong supporter of the CPP, the ANC, another good life that has been lost. I want to say our deepest sympathy to her, to her family, to the ANC, the CPP, but there's no more CPP, so to the ANC. And we want to say to her family that just take courage. My closing is very simple. The Barack Obama said, and I love his quote, when he said that when moderate voices go silent, that's when extremism takes root.
Yeah.
Another quote that I love is from Martin Luther King, when he said that at the end of the day, and this is not verbatim, but just to summarize it, that in the end, we would not remember the voices of our enemies, but we remember the silence of our purported friends, those who claim to be our friends. When President Weah's government started, I was a part of that government. He appointed me on the board of LPRC. For about a few months, I resigned. And I resigned because I did not like the way things were going in the country, and I protested. He was my friend. He is still my friend. I supported him again, because I consistently say, and if I had the chance to do it again, picking between Mr. Bouaka and Mr. Weah, I would pick Mr. Weah any single day, any day. I've always said that I never believed that Joe Bouaka had the capacity to lead. I've never seen him make a decision and stand by it. I respect a leader who will make a decision, even if it's a bad decision, but own up to it and say, you know what, I messed up. But all I have seen from this president in his entire career was blaming and shifting and saying that, oh, he was not in charge. Now he's in charge. The Liberian people decided otherwise, or at least a small fraction of them decided otherwise. Mr. President, let me say this directly to you. We've seen this movie before, and we know how this movie ends. There are many people today who were around Samuel Doe who claim, and they say Doe are hard to hear. And when they were cutting Doe ear off, when your partner Prince Johnson were cutting Doe ear off, they were watching the movie and they said, that man, he was hard to hear. That's why he ended up the way he ended up. Same thing with Charles Taylor. Charles Taylor is sitting today in prison for 50 years, not for anything he did in Liberia, but because they say he aided and abetted in Sierra Leone. But there are people who stood in Mr. Taylor's circle.
I'm mute myself.
Can I please mute? There are people who stood, and today they claim that Mr. Taylor was hard to hear. The same thing with Ellen. Ellen finished her term, but when they say, oh, when Ellen brought her son, they said nobody could say anything, all kind of thing. They blame the leader. The same thing with President Weah. And I told my friend President Weah, I said something to him. I said, in the end, when the chip starts to fall, there are many people who will say, we told him and he didn't listen. President Joe Boca has been in power for not even 5 months. And we see a lot of things happening that is reminiscent or even worse than the past. We made the argument that the Unity Party was not the change that the country deserved. If you wanted to change President Weah, you had other options that you could have picked from. A small fraction of the people decided otherwise. They allowed their anger for George Weah, whatever the anger was, to guide their conscience. Anger and hope is not a strategy. Never has been a strategy. Never. So I'm just saying to the president, you are making these decisions now. You are doing the things you are doing now, or people say you are being controlled now. I'm not buying into that, because at the end of the day, the Liberian people went and voted for you. They went and voted for you. I would just say that I hope you know what you're doing, because in the end, the silence of your so-called friends is what you will remember. No matter how old you are, you will remember that they didn't stand in front of you and say, Mr. President, this one is not the right way to go. This country of ours has seen a lot. One thing I know is that Liberia will not die. Presidents will come and presidents will go. And we will still be singing some of these same songs over and over. I pray for the best for my country. I hope that we get it, we figure it out, because it is heartbreaking when you see other nations and you bite your finger and say, what happened to us? Why we cannot just get it right? We pray for our country. Tomalin, George, you just came in. We're doing our closing. We wanted to wrap this thing up, but we want to thank everybody. We want to thank everybody for joining us today. There were some weather issues. We didn't have the thing to be able to take calls, even from the US. So we want to thank all of you for staying put. And we know Attorney Jackson will be back, like he regularly said, and the rest of the crew will be back here on Monday. But we look forward to having a great show on Monday. Tommy, you want to say something to close up, and then we can then wrap this thing up?
Well, I want to say thanks, guys, for a great show, man. Thanks, great show. We had some stuff that came about, so we had to take care of it quickly. But it was a great show, and again, I again call on the president's legal advisor that silence will not solve this problem. You have to speak out. You guys make the decisions in the executive mansion with the president, and when it's time to come and speak to the Liberian people, you guys decide to shy away. And no matter what happens, Liberia will still be Liberia. We just had an election. The president 100 day was end on May 1st. 100 days in office, and we'll be critically examining his 100 days, the deliverables, what he promised the people of Liberia. Will be here to give him the past if he made some if he deliver on his promises. We'll say it. If not, we'll call him out. And one thing again, the president is coming to the States, coming to America. We'll be watching the president. He said Dallas, Texas for the Africans Summit. We'll be watching it. And again, the president talked about transparency in this government. We want to know who all coming on the trip. And want to know all the president activities because they are coming on Liberian taxpayers' fund. The trip will be funded by Liberian taxpayer. Want to know exactly who are members of the delegation. I don't believe in the saying that you stop saying that the other president did it or the other government did it. It's a changed government, so we expect to be changed. We look forward to that. And I want to commend in Representative Musa Belete. He's formally put in for audit of the national legislature. That's good, and the GAC will be undertaking it. We look forward to seeing that. And I think the budget should be passed by the budget. The budget year is over. The president got to sign the budget before he leaves the country. I'm sure he will sign it before maybe either Monday or so, or whatever before he leaves the country. We look forward to that too. And so again, guys, thanks for the show. And we look forward to what's happening next week with LTA and other and the GC. And today's my little brother's birthday. August, happy birthday from all of us, the family. Want to say happy birthday and enjoy your day. And we pray for you that God will bless you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
again,
Thank you.
our sympathy goes to the family of Comfortable on the past.
But,
Oh, yeah,
but I just
yeah.
wanted to say something quick before we
Yeah.
go. You know, I want to have James Tiba feet tonight. Can you imagine Salisa they play for like brother that they may take a syndicalist and make him a sports ambassador and lead Tiba and just say nine like boy, you're trying, man. Just a bugger in bow, papi.
Kwagara disaster.
See you guys. Have a
All
great
right. Thank you, man.
day.
Well.
Ben, you got to